So let's now get into our first development. Let's say we're talking about a 3 townhouse development. Francis, what do we need to consider before buying the block for a 3 townhouse development and then the process getting into it?
Sure, I'm going to start with first understanding the area. You have to absolutely know, like the back of your fingers, the area that you're looking in, okay? Because once you know it well enough, when the block comes up for sale, you will know whether or not you're buying undervalued, okay? That's the starting point, because as Juliet said just now, you make your money really primarily in the purchase of the property.
Juliet, in your early days, when you were starting to play in the field of development, what are some of the things that you picked up that carried weight for you on into the future and other developments you did?
Picking up on what Francis said there, really understanding your area. I see people say, I'm going to look all across New South Wales, and I say, stop. Know one area well. Know your agents, know your specialist team in that location, and then go a mile deep in your knowledge, not a mile wide. So I think really picking a target area that meets the requirements and understanding it very well, so that you're building specifically for that community is important.
If I can add to that, there's money to be made in everywhere, right? And it could be a suburb. Maybe you just focus on one suburb, and you know it well enough. There's always going to be opportunities there for firstly getting an undervalued property, and then through that make some money from developments.
I'm just going to challenge that for a moment, if I may. What I tend to teach people is strategy first, area second. If you're starting out, go with a strategy you want to adopt first. From that point, you'll know then the buy price and the sell price is going to work for you relative to your own budgets and finances. And then you can start to look in area. Now, you'd want to go close to home. I'm not saying, oh, I'm in Melbourne, Darwin's looking like an affordable place to me, let's go in Darwin. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what is the nearest suburb to where I live, what is the nearest environment to where I go. And then when we've got the strategic approach and the set of numbers that we want to take on, once we know that, we can then identify the suburbs in which that occurs. From there, we can then go into the councils. What's that council like? What's the market like in it? Where does it evolve for the taste and desires of the people buying from me? So that would be my encouragement for people getting started watching this who go, I don't know where to go.
Absolutely.
And what do I do?
Absolutely. Brendan, in fact, now understanding the context behind that, it is certainly fundamental to have that strategy. And once you have that, then you start your first project, right? And the first project can be something as simple as a second dwelling at the back. Right, generating additional income, 150, 200,000 you can put
even in the home you're living in. If you have a plan to move and you've got a large enough block of land, play with your own place first.
Do an extension.
I'm amazed the amount of people that are sitting on these opportunities that don't have the team around them to realise that opportunity. There's a lot of money to be made in your own backyard. There's a lot of development potential everywhere. We just sometimes don't know where to find it, i.e. we can't see it.
When has a client come up to you with a really bad design that you knew would be hard, were you able to turn that around for them and make it work?
Yes, great question. Absolutely.
So what was the scenario?
So we often get these sites where a design has been done that hasn't taken fully into consideration, in the example I'm thinking about, fully into consideration the constraints of the site. There were issues with where the drainage was meant to be designed so that it left the site in an appropriate manner, and there were also issues with potential flooding. Multiple reports were needed to be done to ensure that we could essentially use the same design but deliver solutions that got rid of the problem from a drainage perspective. It also meant engaging engineers and getting those engineers to talk to the architect to find the right design solution for the drainage problem.
So you found that solutions are abundant. They're available out there. It does require thinking a bit differently.
Yes, absolutely.
So Juliet, you're about to take on, let's say, you're about to take on a small development. If you would talk about 2 or 3 ticket items that are going to serve the project best at the outset, what might they be that you'd focus on?
There's certainly a lot of number crunching. Certainly your zoning needs to be right. But I would actually encourage those that are starting out to look at exit strategies and stacking strategies.
Stacking?
Let me tell you more. I am a conservative investor, and when I began, we had virtually no money. So our very first deal, we were thinking we need to renovate. We need to make it multi-income to multiple students dwelling within that. So we've got someone paying the rent for us and covering our mortgage while we do the build. We were subdividing, the backyard was being cut off, and putting a duplex in. If at any point that had gone wrong, I had a backup plan of I can subdivide and sell the backyard.
No build.
No build.
Right.
If I can't get a duplex approved in the backyard, I can build one and I can still break even. If I can't do that, I can make the front house a dual occupancy and I can still break even. So I've got lots of exit points, which is my sleep at night factor.
That's so cool. Definitely. I mean, you need that.
You go into your project with a similar approach.
100%. There's always multiple options. Can be quite confusing and sometimes overwhelming to someone just starting out. But it's important for every project to have multiple options. Right? You can start, okay, this is the first option. Why? Because obviously most optimum returns, yada yada. But if you have to pivot, what's the next best option? And you start having a decision tree, and that's basically your contingency. Juliet rightly pointed out, the business of development is really the business of problem solving. There's always going to be problems. Find solutions, and there'll be many ways to skin the cat. Many, many ways.
But it's interesting, in property, there is no problem that hasn't already been solved, which is just brilliant. You don't have to be that pioneering creative. You just need to know where you can source the answer to the problem that's already existed and been solved previously. Brilliant.
Brendan, I would challenge something you just said.
Please.
Yes. Sometimes, and what we're finding as time goes on, we're also creating new problems.
No, valid.
All right? We are both either creating new problems or actually creating new opportunities. You can really understand with the right team what opportunity is coming up or what potential problem is coming up also.
In our last episode, we spoke about the idea of subdivision. In this episode, we've gone beyond a subdivision into construction and the full-on development, the idea of building dwellings on sites for the purpose of housing people in Australia. The idea came through then to evolve small into larger apartment houses or hospitals. Either way, the encouragement is not to start there. The encouragement is to start small. When we come back, we're going to get real with Juliet.